All right. Well, hello there. Hey, everybody. We are so excited to get started here momentarily with our first ever virtual makeup tutorial starring the real star of the show, that queer Issa, who will be hopping on here momentarily, but I'm going to be kicking things off here. So we are just excited if you are able to be joining us here live tonight, or maybe you're watching this after the fact, which reminds me to click record. Beautiful. All right. So we are going to get going here, but first off, I should introduce myself. My name is Sean Hayes, and my pronouns are he, him, and his. And I am a co-founder and the executive director at Trans Northland. And again, we're just really, really excited to have that queer Isa coming in to share all of her knowledge and glorious self with all of us here tonight for this first of its kind event. But before we bring her on, I have a couple of quick announcements I wanted to share for some other things we've got coming up. So, first off, and most importantly, because it's tomorrow, if you have not yet registered to join us for our virtual name and gender marker change clinic, we encourage you, sign up. I'll be sharing the registration link in the comments here in a little bit to make sure folks have that. You could also go onto our Facebook page, look for the event, and that registration link is there as well. We are really excited to have CD Baga, who is a part of the Volunteer Lawyers Network, who's going to be leading that time, and we'll have time for some breakout rooms for folks to meet with volunteer lawyers one-on-one and talk through their specific situations, whether it's with name and or gender marker changes, etc. So register right now if you're watching. It's happening tomorrow at 11 a.m. on Zoom. Next, our next upcoming support group, peer-to-peer support group, will be on January 8th for all of you folks who have been coming to that. And new folks, we'd love to have you join us. Our peer-to-peer support group is for 18 plus trans folks. So anyone who may identify under that transgender umbrella, non-binary folks, two-spirit folks, gender expansive, gender diverse. We want all of you to come in and join us at support group. So those meetings happen on the second and fourth Wednesdays of every month at 6 p.m. Currently meeting at Menace Peacemakers on their second floor. And our next group will be in the new year, January 8th at 6 p.m. So we'll hope to see all of our regulars and hopefully a couple of new folks coming in there as well. And then my last brief announcement before we bring in our star of the show tonight is Trans Joy Fest, y'all. It's coming up in like 6 months, and we are about to get going on the planning for that. So if you have helped us in the past, if you volunteered with us, or maybe you're new to town and you're like, what's Trans Joy Fest? That sounds awesome because it is awesome and you want to help us. Stay tuned for some more information about how you can sign up to volunteer and get involved with the planning of next year's Trans Joy Fest. So I think that's plenty of me talking, and I would love to invite the brilliant, amazing, gorgeous, super talented That Queer Isa onto the screen. And we'll let her introduce herself. And just as a note, I'm going to be popping in and out here. This is her show, and I will be monitoring the chat. So if you have comments, if you're wondering about a type of product, whatever it is, comment, and I'm going to be keeping track of those and popping back into to make sure that Queer Isa can answer those for you. So yes, please go ahead and introduce yourself, Queen.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is ThatQueerIsa, known as my drag persona, ThatQueerIsa, or on a more personal level, just Isa. I am a trans queer person up here in the Northland of Minnesota. Some of you may know me, and for new people who don't know me, now you know a little bit about me. Today, we're going to be going into a little femme glam makeup tutorial. This one specifically we thought of our dolls, we thought of our trans girls out there, our trans femme girls, and we want to be able to help people out who don't fully have the makeup knowledge or don't really know what they're doing, and try to make that process a little bit more easy. Today, I'm going to be doing what works best for me to explain it, but I'm going to share my tips to help on any beginner level. I don't like to do anything too crazy. Okay, let me tell you something about me. I like to look cute, look glamorous. But I'm a little lazy. So I like the shortcuts. I like the shortcuts. So first going into getting ready for doing some makeups is you want to have a clean face. Okay. I washed my face prior to this. I shaved my face because I'm a special kind of girl. I'm a doll. I'm a trans girl. Okay, I gotta shave. But that's okay. It's normal. I had to shave a little bit, and now I'm ready to go. You can put your favorite makeup primer you want to put on, your moisturizer. I did all that off screen. There's some good affordable brands out there. Don't want to say any brands out there because these days a lot of makeup brands, they be doing things and supporting things we don't want to. So we're not giving any of them the shout outs. But yes, so first we are going to go in with eyebrows. So let me get in with that. This is just the step I personally like to take first. So you can use a brow pencil, a brow powder, a brow pomade. I'm a drag queen. Okay, what I use for me, ooh, can't block that camera. I'm on TikTok there too. um, I'm a drag queen. Okay, I use what is accessible to me in the time of a crunch and it gets the job done. So we're gonna go in with our brow powder here. You can go to your preferred product. So for me, when I like to do my eyebrows, I kind of like to map out. Ooh, don't look at the hair there. We're gonna have a look at map out this area here. That's what I like to kind of do a main focus of. So we're just gonna go into that first. Yeah, we'll do this one. And I just like to go under the brow and go get that all filled out. Now, if it is a little messy, don't worry. Like I said, I'm a drag queen. So, okay, we do little tricks. We're gonna go into some concealer afterwards. I'm gonna clean up that brow. We're gonna keep it light because it's in a show. This is light glam. This is light glam, y'all. So we're gonna go into that. And when you want to do your tail or like your high arch, you just want to be, I don't know, everyone likes to do the arches different. I don't like my too high arched up, but just a little bit to kind of pull up the face, to snatch up the face a little bit. So we're just gonna go into that. The tails can be tricky, but I just like to go with this base part. Just follow that guideline. That's what I like to do. Some people like to do points. I don't necessarily want to do points, but I just kind of map it out because we'll get to clean up afterwards with some concealer.
Hey, Issa, we've got someone who had put in the chat makeup primer question mark. I don't know if there's anything else you can share about that or what that is, or I may have missed it.
Absolutely. So there's primers for the base for foundation that you can apply. So don't want to say brands, but there's primers that just help make the makeup layout better. So if you have specific issues like where like, you have not issues, but concerns. If your pore is a little bit too big, there's like pore like blurring to get that makeup to lay flat. If you like more of a stick to your makeup, there's gripping primers that will have your makeup actually stick to your face a lot better. So then it doesn't move as much. There's just various amount of face primers just to help lay out how you want your foundation to lay out your concealer, your base. And of course, you have to go to your specific needs that you have. So if you have like more of a oily skin complexion, you want to cater to those face primers. There's some makeup that, in the makeups line. It's hard not to mention names. But if you look up your specific makeup product, you can go into the instructions in the about, and it tells you what skin type that is more catered for, if that makes sense. But yes, I like to use a gripping primer just so it can stick to my face a little bit more. I'm a performer, so I might accidentally bump my face against this or that or wipe my face, and I don't really want that makeup to move or to budge. So that's a really good thing to have because your canvas is important. You want to have your face be as prepped and primed and moisturized as possible. So as you can see, I'm finishing up this tail here. And like I said, don't worry if it's not perfect. I have a lot of experience with doing eyebrows. I had to go through some crazy times back in high school with my eyebrows. So I had to look crazy a little bit. Needless to say, practice makes you better. I'm not gonna say practice makes perfect because I still do not make my eyebrows perfect. They're not twins, they're cousins. You know, sometimes they're close cousins, sometimes they're distant cousins. We support all types of cousins. Okay. We don't discriminate on that part. And then you have a little brush here. I took the hair out this time so you don't see it. You can take your little brush spoolie if you have it. There should be some on the eyebrow pencils you use, or if you just have disposable makeup mascara wand brush thing, you can just brush it out just to give it more of a natural effect. Because today we're not going for showgirl glam, we're going for everyday glam. So I'm just gonna go back into the other side and do that same thing, following this baseline, kind of mapping that out, and then doing the top part first. I'm doing the top part second, not first. And when you're making your eyebrows and you're like seeing like your arches and your tails, you just want to kind of look into the mirror and see if they're evenish. You want to make sure they're evenish so when you map it out, it's not two different angles, two different directions. Okay. We don't want that. We don't want that. And now I'm going up to that top part, like I mentioned. And I don't want to go too high up. You don't want to make it thick. For a nice feminine look, you want to try to keep the eyebrows a little thin, managed, petite looking. That's the key. That's the key. But if you have bushy eyebrows, hey, kudos to you, sister. Just not me. Just not me. So I'm just filling in that tail. See, we got that tail in there. And you can make the tail of your eyebrow to the size you want. You don't want us to go past, this part of your eye. Just that's up to you. But like I said, you got to play around a little bit. You got to practice. Sometimes we got to go through the rough days to get to the good days. That's how I got to what I know today. Just putting some extra time and just doing one step at a time. You don't gotta overwhelm yourself with that. So I'm going back in and I'm brushing the beginning part of my brow just to give it more of a natural kind of finish, brushing the product through the brow, if you will. Ooh, there we go. And then once you're done touching those up, you can just go back and apply product in areas that need a little bit more. Because on makeup, don't be afraid to make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. And as you make mistakes, you figure out different techniques and things that work a little bit better for you. Or you just get to learn that product just a little bit more.
I'm back, Isa. We've got another question here from
Yeah.
Spectrum Queen.
Yeah.
So they're asking, is there any specific techniques on how you do your brows, sister? Do you like them being feathery or more sharp?
Okay. Well, thank you. My specific brow, I don't know. I don't want like necessarily go for like the feathery look. I like to brush out the main parts here because you want that part to look the most natural, if you will, the most illusion to look natural if you want to. But then when I go to my tails, I like to be a little bit more sharp, more precise, so then it looks like a nice, clean, sharp brow. Um, and when I do the ends of my eyebrows, I do like to add a little bit more product to make sure like the tails are dark too, because you want it to look nice and crisp. So once I go in with my concealer, I'm gonna crispen and sharpen up these brows, and then y'all will get to know what I mean. You look at yourself quite a bit. You just gotta is it giving? No, because they're not sharp. So now I'm gonna go in with my concealer brush, wherever it is out of all these brushes. This little flat paddle concealer brush. My brushes may be a little beat up. I'm a drag queen, and that's what they signed up for, is to get beat up with makeup. So now I'm gonna go into a little bit of concealer here. So I'm using a concealer that's full coverage. You can clock the bottle. This concealer specifically is more of a full coverage. You can go on the coverage of concealer as much as you want to, just because, like, not as much as you want to. So your preferred coverage, because you know there's light coverage, medium coverage, full coverage, and full coverage will cover up more. I get full coverage just because I'm a drag queen. So I would say medium, like a medium coverage concealer, I would suggest. So now I'm just gonna go in, get a little bit on the ends here, and I'm just going to, I don't want to get off in the camera. I don't want y'all to see my big forehead like that. But I'm just gonna go under my eyebrow here, and I'm just gonna crispen it up. I don't know if that's a word, crispen, but we're crispinizing this brow. And you don't want to do too much product because you kind of want to make it look natural as possible. If that's what you're going for, that's what I'm kind of going for. More of a natural thing. I'm gonna be so real. I'm so scared to see these angles of this live of my face afterwards. Y'all are really about to see me in a whole different level. That's okay. And then with the tail, I'm going to kind of thin it out a little bit to make that tail a little bit more sharp here. And then I dab off the excess on my hand, go back in with some more concealer to touch it up a little bit. And if you mess up, like I said, that's okay. Makeup, you're gonna mess up quite a bit before you get to the good stuff. Now, after I just got that on there, I'm gonna go in with another makeup brush here, just to kind of blend that in a little bit because I don't want any harsh lines on my face or brow. You know, a key part to looking cutesy, feminine, and you know, like a woman is to have blended lines. We are not in a drag show, like I mentioned. You want to blend those lines. Make sure you take the time for blending. If it looks a little harsh, you see a line, just buff it out just a little bit. I'm telling you, it will be worth it. Because now y'all saw a bunch of not lines, but you saw like where the product was. And I just blended it out just a little bit. And girl, look how much better that looks. Oops, someone's mad. Someone's talking outside. Anyways, so yes, so this is without the brow sharpening, and then this is with the brow sharpening. We're gonna go in on the other side and sharpen the other brow. Gotta get some more concealer, dab it up on my hand. So I'm gonna go back in with some concealer here, and I'm just gonna start at the base again of the brow. Go right underneath that line. You can make it a little thin, like I said. You can just make sure it matches the other thickness or thinness, if you will. One thing you guys learn about me, Issa doesn't always use English words. Issa uses words that feel right. So that's the niche, whatever I said. Yeah, it's a word today. And like I said, we're gonna go to that arch, that tail, and we're gonna thin it out as we get down there. So we were just going for the base of the eyebrow, we were just going right underneath it. For the tail, you kind of want to go at an angle a little bit and kind of make it more of a point, if you will. Cute. Wipe off that excess on the hand. And then I'll just go back in. Apply a little bit more product. All right. Now we're gonna blend that out a little bit. Like I said, blending is everything. You don't want any harsh lines or just a bunch of products sitting in an area that's not blended at all. I've gone through it a few times. It's not cute. So we gotta blend it out. Okay. So once you get done with that, look back at those brows one more time. You gotta make sure they look pristine. Don't know what that word means. It just felt right. Like I mentioned earlier, I say words that feel right. May mean a whole different thing. I'll find out later. But I'm just gonna go back into that tail area just in case I got a little concealer on the brow that I didn't want to. I'm just gonna touch that back up, give it some more color. Just on the arch tail part though.
Hey again, Issa, we've got a question. So with when you're blending, is that with the makeup or just the brush? Wait, we've got that question.
What was that? The last part, sorry.
So when you're blending, is it with just the makeup or are you using just a brush?
Or using just a brush. Um, let's see. So when I'm blending it, I just had my makeup brush. I had excess concealer left over on the upper brow. And I just took my brush and I'm blending it down into my like actual skin of my eye that doesn't really have makeup on. So then it kind of has more of a seamless look, if that makes sense. Because we had all that product bunched up right underneath there, and I kind of pulled it down from where I placed it under my brow and just kind of blended it all over my eye here just to kind of get a base. In a way, with pulling your concealer from your eyebrow down a little bit, that also works as the eyeshadow primer, which we're gonna get into. But yeah, just blending that makeup into the skin a little bit more, make it look a little bit more seamless, if you will. So I'm about done touching up my brows here. Like I said, they do not need to be perfect. We are not Beyonce, and even Beyonce is not perfect. So now we're gonna get ready to get into the eyes. Not gonna lie, not gonna lie. The eyeshadow has always been a little bit of a iffy spot for me coming into the drag industry, but luckily with being able to perform a lot, I get more hands-on with doing eyeshadow, makeup, stuff like that. So you can use a lot of colors that you want to use. I'm just gonna go into this neutral eyeshadow palette I have here. Not saying the brand because I don't say. So for this one, you can kind of use what color you prefer. Um, I'm gonna be doing browns. So let's see, what color do I want to go into actually? So I'm gonna go into this darker brown shade. You can go into a shade that you prefer. We're gonna use a couple different shades of that shade if that's not too confusing. So I'm gonna use this dark brown, I'm gonna use a little bit of lighter brown, and then I'm gonna use a shimmer on top. So I'm just gonna go into this dark brown here, pat it off, and with eyeshadow, you gotta practice. Even me, I still have to practice a bunch. I am nowhere near perfect. I am nowhere near good. I am cater to graphic things. So when it comes to eyeshadow, you just gotta take your time. So I'm just gonna go in the base here, the end part of my eye here, but above it, And we're just gonna do a little stamp here, right above there. So pat that in a little bit. We're kind of gonna put a mark in a way. So we have that base there. And then we're just gonna kind of lift that up, fan that out just slightly, and go up kind of in a V motion, but upwards with that little line point. Like you see your cheekbones, like right here, there's like a little line. Like you kind of want to pull it up to give a more like lifted effect. I like to just start to do that just so I can kind of see what shape I'm going for. Today I'm going for a more pulled up little cat smoky eye type of thing, but not a full smoky eye. Kind of blended, if you will. So we got it going like that. I'm gonna look at this mirror because I can see better in this mirror if I just wanted to give y'all a better glimpse of what I can do. So I'm just dipping back into that shade again. And I'm doing that V shape on top as well, but keeping the main pigment in that back area. We're just gonna fan it out and blend. And something else I also want to mention while I'm doing this, I kind of have hooded eyes. So hooded eyes, I don't want to get all up in the camera. I don't want y'all to see all my imperfections. But when I look straight at the camera, you can kind of see a fold where like right like above my lashes pretty much. That's kind of my hooded eye. So when I do eyeshadow, I like to have it so it goes above that line. So then even when I'm looking straight, it's still above that line. You want to kind of go a little bit over just to emphasize because we have skin that kind of go, or if you do have hooded eyes like me, we have skin that kind of put that down and kind of takes that effect away. So we got to go above a little bit. So I'm also going to be cautious of that.
We got another question here from Claudia, and they're asking what style of brush are you using for this part?
Yes. Okay. So I'm just using a regular It's not too fancy of a brush, but for this one, it's more of a paddle shape, but it's a little more fluffier, if you can tell. My makeup brushes are beat up. I'm a drag queen, but kind of more of a flushier, fluffier type of brush. So I can just kind of pack it and then kind of just brush it off a little bit to get that shape. So now I'm kind of going over into that hooded eye area a little bit, and I'm trying to emphasize my line a little bit so you can see how it kind of goes above my eye a little bit. I'm gonna just blend that a little bit, not adding any more product because you don't want to add a bunch of product towards the inner eye. It's just a makeup thing that we don't want to do. Too much product will just draw attention to the wrong areas, if you will. But as you can see, I kind of kept that V shape as I've been going, but then I kind of just been blending it up, softening the lines a little bit, going over my hooded eye just a little bit. And don't be afraid to get up into this upper brow bone area too. If you have the space for it, utilize it. Now we're going up in this area with not a lot of product and we're just blending and pulling it up. And now there's a lot of different eyeshadow looks and styles that you can do. I do the one that has been most success to me, but if you have more almond shaped or diamond eyes, there's gonna be different eyeshadow styles that you'll want to cater to. So some eyeshadow shapes won't work for all. So that's why today we're kind of doing like a little basic, just a little blend out, pull up, cat eye little look. All the non-official words, that's what we're going into. I'm just going back and I'm blending those lines, pulling it up, keeping it cute. You don't want to get too messy with it. Making sure we have some blended lines so it's not too harsh looking. And sometimes you got to pull that eye back. It's okay. I got some excess skin, and sometimes it just doesn't work how I want it to work. So don't be afraid to really get in there.
Hey, Issa, we've got Amy chiming in asking, how do you keep your eyeshadow powder from falling off your upper brow onto your eyelid? Amy says, I always get like a fine powder on my eyelid where I have usually a lighter color.
Okay, so she said from her upper brow. So something I like to go when I do apply my products or when I add some product onto the brush. So let's just say I just pack some on right now. If you go into your onto your face or into your product and you don't really tap off the excess or whatever, that is gonna have more of that fallout come out, if you will. So just make sure you kind of get some of that product off a little bit, do a little tap. Don't be afraid if it's a powder, you know, get a little tap. And that should help at least a little bit with the fallout. I know that also happens when you do just regular eyeshadow here and then it falls onto your cheek. That's why I always, you heard my little taps. So I can get the excess off just so I don't have as much fallout. But sometimes makeup is just gonna fall out, unfortunately. But there are a few tips like that that we can do to prevent that as much as we can. So now I'm gonna go into the other eye. And this will be the eye you guys will be able to see a little bit. I'm going back into that dark brown shade, do a little tap tap, try to get some of that product off. And I'm gonna stamp at the end part of my eye, the wing of the eye. I don't really know. Just this outer part here. And we're just tapping a bunch, and then we're gonna go into that V motion shape to blend it out. So some people say like when you're blending, you can do a windshield wiper motion. Some people say you can do like a tapping motion like that. I kind of like to do a tapping motion because I feel like I have a little bit more control of where it's going, so then it doesn't get as fanned out and as I don't know crazy everywhere. So I just like the pat for a little bit more control, but it's kind of like a pat and drag, if you will. So I'm doing that V motion again on the upper and then bottom part, pulling up just a little bit here. I don't want to go too crazy, but I want to have something that will kind of give me that cat eye effect. We're going to go above that line again. Make sure that's blended.
All right, we've got Claudia now, who says, as a fellow girl with hooded eyes, how do you prevent your eyeshadow from creasing in the crease area of your eye?
Oh, yes. Okay. So when it comes to creasing, when I used to work at Sephora, there's like, there's different areas that crease for like for base product and stuff like that. Creasing is unfortunately going to happen, but there are things that we can do to prevent that. For me, when it comes to creasing for like my little bit of hooded eyes that I have going on or anywhere else on my face, I try not to use as much cream product there or as much product in general there, just because the more we pack on, the more that crease is going to be more defined. So having it light will kind of reduce that a little bit. But I also do get that creasing. And when I do that, that's why I'm kind of blending my eyeshadow above my crease just a little bit because that creasing, she'll crease, unfortunately. But that should be able just to help just a little bit here, just not using as much product in that area that's creasing as much. I'm going back and I'm dragging out this eye here. Actually, I'm going over here too. You know what? I got ADHD. I do what Issa does, okay? We're gonna snatch that back out. And like I mentioned earlier, you can kind of go into any color with this aspect. I kind of wanted to do an eyeshadow shade that wouldn't really matter what color you kind of use. You should still be able to get at least a shape going on that you like so you can feel confident and feminine and petite. Yeah. Now I'm going to pull that eye back just a little bit because I got some extra skin back here. And I want to kind of blend up on those lines where the product is kind of built up a little bit. This eye is a little bit more blended. You kind of want to keep blending just a little bit so the eye doesn't have much of a build-up product there. Blending is key for sure. And sometimes when you have product on your brush and you're trying to blend, sometimes it's just not blending how you want to. So you can always go in with a different brush too, a clean makeup brush, and just to kind of get some of that abrupt product looking a little bit more blended. You see what I mean? Kind of dust off some of that pigment, if you will. Because now we're doing a lot better. I don't know what brush fell. Let me back it up. Okay. Not a brush I needed. Okay. So yeah, so you can always go in with a makeup brush that doesn't have as much product, just to blend those edges just a little bit more. Perfect. I'm going to look back in and I see on this side, I just need a little bit more product. So I'm going back into that dark shade. I'm going to go back in that area and just kind of restamp and make sure the product is looking effective. Looking cute. I already see it, y'all. I already see it. And we just got eyeshadow and brows on. Okay. We'll fan it up just a little bit. Okay. Gorge. I'm gonna go back to the other eye just to see if there's any extra pigment we want to add there. Cute. Okay, so now you have somewhat of a, or should have somewhat of a blended, pulled out cat eye base. Like I mentioned, we're gonna go in with another shade here. Now you can do the cut crease and all that stuff. That's not what I like to do. So I'm gonna go in with a lighter shade here. Let's see, what shade do I want to go in with? I'm gonna go in with a nice light, kind of palish white, and I'm gonna go on the base of my eye there and kind of map out my lid just a little bit there, just so I can start to see a little bit of, I don't know, color difference, ombraism. I don't know. We just add that there just to make it look light, just to kind of make that eyelid pop a little bit more. So just a nice lighter shade, a light cream color, or I don't know, even like a nice light white will also help too. And we're just placing that on the lid. We're not doing it in this back area because we don't want to reduce what we just did, but just on this crease area. Or the crease, not the crease, but the lid. I found it. I found the word. Gorge. Okay. I'm just gonna go back in with a little bit more product here just so we can get that specific shape going on. Just to see a little lid action. Cute. Gorge. Gorge. Cute. So now we kind of have this situation going on where we have a little bit lighter on the lid here, and then we have that darker little fanned out cat eye look there. So now we're gonna go back into that first dark shade, and we're gonna pat on this outer area on the edge of where that lighter color was.
All right, and we've got Nina being on the lid up to right before the crease.
Okay. Oh, what was that question, Sean? I only heard the lid to the crease.
No worries, no worries. So Nina says on the lid up to right before the crease, question mark.
On the lid up to the crease. Let me think. Right now, we're just putting this light shade just on the lid part. So for the hooded eye people, we're just going a little bit above where your eye is creasing. So when you look kind of straight, you can see it. If that makes sense, if I'm following that question correctly, I'm gonna go back in with the other shade. So I took my more flatter brush and my crease of my eye, you can see kind of where that goes in, where my eye creases. I'm just going a little bit above that just so we can make the eye pop a little bit so you can kind of see some different color going on. Otherwise, you're just going to kind of get a lot of base color. But for that crease, just go a little bit above the crease area, if I am carrying that right. Cute. Okay, so like I mentioned, we're going to go back into that first initial darker shade. And we're just going to stamp on this outer area for here so we can have it kind of looked, I don't know, more of a cut crease effect without kind of doing the cut crease, if you will. And we're just doing on this end part here. You can kind of pull it up back into the tail again if you'd like to. And then you can add a little bit more pigment there. Gorge. Guys, we're not going for something too crazy, but we're going for like a nice little like glam. New Year's is coming up, so this will be a nice little good look. And then we're gonna go back and do that same thing on the other eye here. I'm gonna blend it into the end part of this crease here, but keep on the outer part. And like I said, you can pull it back up into that tail part of the brow if you want to. Just add a little bit more pigment there. Because we're gonna keep the eyeshadow simple because I'm not too bright on the advanced eyeshadow. There was this one eyeshadow tutorial I tried to do, and they're doing different like graphic liners, and I paid money to join it too. And I started doing it. I was like, oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't do that. I let them know. I was like, I gotta go because it just didn't make sense to me. So we're just gonna keep the eyeshadow just simple because sometimes it's just frustrating. You just want to know how to do makeup. You want to feel pretty. You want to feel cute. You want to feel more confident sometimes, or you just want to put on some makeup. So, you want to be able to find the steps and techniques that help make that process a lot easier. And also just eyeshadow looks that are just simple in general. Okay, so now I added some on the out ends here, and then I kind of pulled it out just a little bit. So now I'm going to go into a different eyeshadow palette here. If y'all see what brand that is, don't shame me. I bought this how long ago. So I'm going to go into a silver shimmer just because I have a nice little lighter base there. I just want to add a nice little shimmer. You can just use your finger. So I might just, no, I'm not. I ain't doing that. I'm going to go in with my flat concealer brush and apply that shimmer. So let's see. So let's see here. Okay. So I'm going to this little silver shimmer down there. And I'm going to put it right where I put the lighter color. Just to kind of give it a shine. Just a little pop of something. Don't got to be crazy. Gold could be a cute, gorgeous look for this brown too, but I don't like gold. Gold is not what I like to do. So we're just doing a nice little silver. Just add a little pop, and then you can put it back where you did that first light color. To just add a little something. Just add a little pop. And this is just this base shimmer that we're gonna do because I'm gonna add two different shimmers so we can have a different type of effect. Perfect, so I got that on. Now I'm gonna stamp the other shimmer on the other eye. And it's just gonna go right in that same, where that light color went, where you put on your lid. Just packing and blending. Just on that lid part, not the tail part, just the lid. Oh my gosh, I already feel like a woman. Oh my gosh. And if the product is not applying, like if it's not showing as much pigment as we'd like to, you can always go back into your eyeshadow palette and just go right back over it. Sometimes you just gotta pat color on for it to get more of an effect. I'm gonna go back over there. Perfect. Ooh, that just feels so gorgeous. Cute. So that's what we got going on right now. We have a nice little over the brown on the lid, little shimmer moment. So now I'm gonna go in with that first initial darker color for the end again, because we added some shimmer. We want to make sure it has a nice little blending appeal to it, I suppose. So we're just gonna go back, stamp on the end there. And we're not gonna move much further from that area because we don't want to cover up what we just did with the shimmer. Okay. And then you can also pull it back up into that wing again. So we're just kind of covering up our tracks of the first, we're covering up our tracks for the shimmer part. Hard to explain, Emily. Cute, gorge. Okay. So now I am going to go in with some mascara for my lashes, and then I'm going to go into some eyeliner. I'm just repeating myself twice. Yeah. Yeah. Mascara is usually pretty self-explanatory. Just don't get too close to your eye. Just blink into it a little bit. I don't want to do the crazy face in the camera, so we're just gonna do it right here. Oh my gosh, perfect. I have mascara on. I don't even need lashes anymore. Just kidding. I do. But now we're going with some eyeliner. So there's different types of eyeliners you can go into. There's like gel eyeliner, there's pencil eyeliner, there's like felt tip, you know, the marker eyeliner. I'm going to be using more of the felt tip eyeliner. This is the kind of liner I'm using. Um, oops, I shook that off and that cap popped right off. Anyways, so for liner, we want to keep it thin on the lid because liner is kind of a touchy area too. I could fully go into a whole cat eye moment, but cat eyes take practice. So we're just gonna do a nice thin line from the inner eye over to the tail part. That's what we're gonna do today. So just keep the line thin and take your time. Because you want to add some eyeliner to make your eye pop a little bit. It's gonna make that product pop a little bit.
And Issa, you are getting some shout outs here. We got Nina saying, "You are gorgeous," with so many exclamation
Oh my
points.
gosh. Love Nina.
Jas
Thank you.
yes, yes. Jasmine is saying, "Just joining, but looking amazing."
Oh my gosh. Thank
And
you.
then, oh, we got another question here as well. Yeah, keep them coming, folks. Let's see. Amy is wondering, what are your thoughts on magnetic eyeliner for lashes?
A good question, Amy. For me, no. I don't recommend the magnetic lashes. Just because I prefer the glue. Because once you kind of get an understanding of the glue, they really stay on. Magnetic lashes, sometimes they have it like infused like with the liner, and then you apply the lash. I like a little bit more of a stronger hold. And some people say like the magnetic part, like with the inner eyes and like eye watering, it doesn't like fully work. So I just go in straight for the glue And when we do our lashes, I'm gonna teach a little trick that I do for the glue application, but Issa doesn't do the magnetic lashes. But you can. I just can't. I need a strong hold. Because, I'm dancing, splitting, kicking, doing all these things. I don't want to fly away in the wind.
All right, we've got Claudia asking, how do you make sure the line doesn't take over your eyeshadow with hooded eyes? Claudia says, sometimes it's the almost thing that shows up when I do eyeliner on my eyelid.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So for me having a little bit of hooded eyes, I know some people have way more hooded eyes than I do. And they're like, girl, what are you talking about? I try to stick to like as thin as possible line just to kind of prevent that because if I get too, if I even go up a little bit more on my eyeliner, it's gonna go up into my upper part. So doing as thin as line as you can, what you feel comfortable with, play with that like thickness of the line, but keep it thin. That should hopefully help. But also letting your makeup, your eyeliner have time to sit and dry too is also another thing. It's also the makeup brand that you're trying. You want to try to go for some long wear eyeliners like waterproof liners too, because it'd be moving. Okay. So we got to keep it stable. There's a lot of good brands that you can look up. I would shout out some brands on here, but like I said, brands these days you just don't know. But if you have any questions, if anyone has any specific questions, makeup product wise, you can feel free to message me, and I'll be happy to show some good brands that I use. I don't know the story though, but the good brands to use for what I need to achieve. And I'm still going in with that thin line. Like I said, take your time on the liner because sometimes if you mess up your liner, it can mess up the whole look. Take your time, but little by little. Okay, let's see if okay, this one needs to be a little thicker. But all right, so I got some eyeliner just on my base there. I'm not going into the wing aspect of it just because sometimes it's just a little bit tricky, especially with different eyeliners and I just want a nice, easy look that everyone can follow. So now I'm gonna get prepped and get ready to put on some lashes. That's just what I choose to do. And then the base is a breeze. It's usually the eyes that take the first chunk of time. Perfect. So with my lash trick I like to do, I have my lashes. Make sure you trim your lashes to your eye shape. Never trim on the inner part of the lashes that go in this inner part. You always want to trim on the outer parts. That's just what I've been told, and I just stuck with it. But cater your eyelash shape to your eyes. Not all eyelashes, false eyelashes, are ready to go right as they come out the box. You got to trim them a little bit. But I already cut mine and got mine ready up to go just so I could be better on time consuming. I don't want to get all close because I don't want to show my makeup fingers. Ooh. Anyways, so I'm going in with some lash glue here. This is clear, but you want to make sure you buy transparent lash glue if you get that, or you can get black lash glue if you wear a liner on top of it. But I don't like to do that because with the glue, sometimes it smudges with the liner and all that stuff. Yeah, it's just not good. So I'm gonna do a line of glue just across the whole top of the band of the lash. Just gonna do a line across that there. And then I'm also let me find what eye this goes to first. I'll be mixing it up. Okay. No, I got confused on this. Hold up. Okay, no. Okay. And now we're gonna go in on this lid and we're gonna do a thin line right over where we did that thin eyeliner, but we're gonna do glue. And we're gonna have glue on the lash and then glue on on that lid too.
All right, we've got Nina saying, I'm blind as a bat without my glasses. Is there a trick to attach fake lashes in the right spot?
Oh yes. So what I just did with my glue, because I like to have a good hold. I like to have a good grip. I don't have time to apply the lash and it be sliding when I'm trying to fix it. So you want to do that line on on the lash band, and then you also want to do a thin line on your lid. Let it dry just a little bit, just a few seconds. Just a few seconds, okay? You got to get some type of grip. Just a few seconds. Mm-hmm. Okay. Hopefully this is enough. And now we're going to take this lash. I like to go by the middle part and just plop it right on the center of my lid so then I know where the beginning of the lash is starting. And then I usually know where the end of it's starting too. So I'm just going to pop it on. Okay, so I just popped her on. And now I'm going to push her back onto the lid just a little bit. You got to be able to play with it a little bit, but be gentle because you don't want to just rip it off. And then after I have it secured in the middle part, that's when I go and I attach the band that has the glue to the actual glue on my lid. You can kind of just push it down, play a little, look in the mirror. Don't be afraid to get up in there. It's your eyeball. Just make sure you wash your hands afterward. Push that up, and boom. I got my first lash on. And we're going to repeat that same process with the other side with applying glue on the lash band. And then we're going to do a lot of glue on the eyelid. But don't do a lot of glue on the eyelid. You don't want to glue your eyelid shut. Be careful, be cautious, be courteous. Oh, my automatic mirror turned off. Okay.
All right, Issa, we've got a couple more comments here. One question from Amy is, what is the lash band? And then a
Yeah.
couple other folks saying, amazing. Hey, hey, beautiful people. And we've got Taylor who said, oops, glad to know that I've been cutting the inner part of my lashes anyways.
Ooh.
So that question was, what is the lash band from Amy?
Yes. So I would love to show my lash, but it got some glue on it. Um, So you see like this end part of the lashes here, the little frilly parts, the lash part of it. The lash band is the part where it all attaches to, the part that is touching your actual eyelid. That's the lash band. The lashes are attached to the lash band. The lash band is the base where the lashes go to. Tie that way on your waterline, and boom, there you go. So now, like I mentioned, we're gonna go back in with a thin line of glue here on the lash. And now I'm gonna do a thin line on the lid. Perfect. And we're gonna let it sit for a second. And while we let it sit for a second, Miss Girl's gonna take a sip of her tea, her brisk, to quench her thirst. Yes. Mm-hmm. All right, yep. So now
Got
that we've waited a few seconds. Oh,
nope, I was just gonna say we were getting some love from Miss Dixie Bird saying hey hey.
that's my
And
sister.
Amy says thank you. And yes, this is being recorded, so definitely we'll share that out. And actually you could probably just watch it here on Facebook or on our YouTube channel. So we'll share that.
Yes. So now that I let that glue dry on my lid a little bit and dry on the lash line, like I said, I'm gonna grip that lash in the middle and I'm gonna place it, or I like to on the lid. So we placed it on the middle part, and now we're gonna do the end parts to make sure those are secure. Not secure. Who am I? Oh, get up in the eye. Get all up in the eye. Oh my gosh. And just like that, I have my second eyelash on. Oh my gosh. Okay. So if you have any questions on the eyelash part again, I am happy to re-explain anything or explain something in a different way. But that's the quickest way I get on my lashes. I apply lash glue on the band of the lash, and then I also do a little bit on the lid itself. Be careful with how much glue you use. You don't want to glue your eye shut. But yes, now we got our lashes on. After you put your lashes on, let them dry a little bit. I'm impatient, so I'm going into with some mascara right away. And we're just gonna give those lashes some volume. Now, you definitely do not have to do your fake lashes this early. We haven't even done foundation yet. But this is just the way I like to do it. I'm a little crazy. I am a Gemini, so that does make sense. But I'm the good Gemini. Just be careful with how crazy you go with your mascara and make sure it dries and stuff like that. Otherwise, you're gonna get some of that on your eyeshadow. All right, y'all. We have the eyes done, a cute little simple look. We have some lashes on. We have our brows done. Now we're gonna get into the base. We're gonna get in with foundation. So like I mentioned, make sure you go on with some moisturizer prior to, some face primer to, make it look more matte, to make the makeup grip to your face more, to make the appearance look more blurred. Whatever you prefer, you can go into that. I already primed. I'm gonna go into my full coverage foundation here. There's a bunch of different coverages, the foundation, medium, light, full. I'm a drag queen slash a trans girly, so I like to have my full coverage to try to cover up my beard, my upper lip, and because I don't like to do color correcting. You can do color correcting, but I don't like to do all that. So I'm just gonna dabble a little bit on the back of my wrist here, and I'm gonna take a brush just to apply it across my face. So you can just use your fingers, but I'm just gonna go across my face and apply this foundation. And if anyone has specific questions on like helping find your foundation shade, um, we need to find out your not foundation type, your skin type. So there is olive tone skin, which that's what I am, olive tone. There's also neutral, there's cool tone, and there's also warm tone. That is the first main and important thing it takes to find your foundation shade. There are tricks you can do where you can look at your veins and stuff like that. But honestly, with me working at Sephora, the best thing I did is just apply a little strip here on your jawline when you're at the store with the testers. Let it dry a little bit because some foundations, they oxidize. And what oxidize means is when you apply it onto your face, it gets a little bit warmer and then it kind of gives like an orange look, or it's not the same color you applied on. So do a little test strip, few strips on your jawline. That's a Sephora tip right there. Let it dry just for like maybe 10 seconds, and then that will help you be able to pick your foundation shade. Because when I worked at Sephora, I was really good at shade matching. Okay, it may did take a second because some people were a little bit more difficult to find than others, but I always got it, and people came to me. So that's one tip I can give to y'all. And apply some on my forehead. Oh yes. Now, for more of a like light, more feminine appearance, and this is for all my trans girlies, try not to go too heavy on the foundation as well, just because sometimes it gives a cakey appearance, it gives more of a harsh appearance, and when you want to give that nice little light, subtle, nice little feminine glow, you want to go light with your foundations and stuff like that. That is a key thing I also want to add for sure. Keeping it light and everything. So now I'm going in with my makeup sponge that has been used quite a bit. Don't clock me. And I'm just blending out my foundation. Keeping it cute, blending it onto the ears a little bit, blending it down the neck, the jaw, all that fun stuff.
All right, we've got Spectrum Queen asking, what's your advice on blending with a brush or a beauty blender? Any tricks or etc.? Anything else you want to add?
Oh yeah. Okay, so I use sponges. I use makeup blender, a beauty blender, makeup sponge. I use that. Something that people do, they get it wet. So, ooh, not my, oh, I'm talking about. Some people they get it wet before they do that, and that helps with blending it out a little bit. And some people use it dry. Sometimes I don't know. I do either or. But for me, it's not dragging the product. Make sure you're patting the product. That really helps kind of get it in, make it that nice appearance. You don't want to drag like that. I don't know who said to start doing that. You don't do that. You just tap, blend, keep it cute, and keep it light. That's one thing I can add. For makeup brushes itself, sometimes I don't like to use makeup brushes for blending foundation because sometimes you can see like the strokes and the streaks of the makeup bristles and stuff like that. So I prefer a sponge, but I would say patting motions for your makeup brush and not dragging that so you can get those streaks and stuff like that. If you do want more of a full coverage look, foundation brushes are the way to go for more of a full coverage look. But if you want more of a skin look, skin appeal, you can go with the sponge and it'll give that effect. So now that we have pretty much just done it all over the place, if you see my hand being held up, sometimes I just hold my hand up for a long period of times for no reason. We're gonna go back on the ear. If you need to apply more foundation, feel free, because we gotta make sure we go under the neck too. Go down the neck, make sure we're not just wearing a mask. Put down the neck. And take your time with blending. Make sure you don't have harsh lines. Like I mentioned earlier, keep it nice and blended. Oh my gosh, so gorgeous. Okay, so now after I got my foundation,
So
hi,
gorgeous.
thank you.
And Nina is wondering, as a performer, are your makeup products sweat or waterproof?
Oh, so for makeup products for like performers, mine specifically are not waterproof or water resistant just because I don't really sweat that much. So I don't have to have that issue. But yes, if you are a performer and you do tend to sweat a little bit more or you get more warm, waterproof mascara, product eyeliner that's more waterproof so it doesn't run on your face. You got to get that right. Face primer to help with that a little bit. There is a primer out there by an influencer drag queen um, who does has a nice product that helps with the sweating on the face and stuff like that, so the product doesn't move. All that, yeah. So concealer, I'm just going under my eye just a little bit. I don't want to do too much. Some people do the big triangles. That's a lot of product. I just like to do a little 3 little dollops, and you gotta do a little dollop right here as well. And then I kind of just do a little line on the nose there too. Perfect. And then we're gonna do a little bit on the upper lip here. And that's why you go for my concealer spots. So I don't want to do too much. I don't want it to make it look too cakey or too crazy. But yes.
All right. And Amy is asking now, how do you add foundation to your hairline without getting it in your hair or leaving an obvious makeup line at the top of your forehead?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So when you do that, you can just be cautious and go extra slow around blending the hairline. Sometimes I do get makeup in my hairline as well. And sometimes you can just go in with a little bit of eyeshadow and just touch up the edges a little bit, or you can just wipe a little bit off with some makeup product. But I usually just like to take it slow when I get to the hairline so I don't get as much product. As you can see, I got a little bit of product here, but you can always go with eyeshadow or uh, eyebrow like gel to kind of get to look nice again. So now we're just gonna blend out this concealer here. We're gonna keep it light when we're beating under the eye, just so we don't soak up all that product. And we're just gonna keep it under the eye here. We're gonna pull it down the nose, just a little bit here. We're gonna keep it light. We're not gonna go too crazy. And we're gonna keep it kind of in this area here. We're not gonna have to add too much other product. But we're just gonna keep it focused there. Perfect. And then I take the other side of my beauty blender and I just blend down the area, like not on the area where I did it, but like the outer edge area. So it's more of a seamless effect. Gorge, love. And now we're just gonna blend out this other eye. Some concealers, they dry really fast. And sometimes you don't just want it just sitting under your eye like this the whole time. But this concealer I use, I don't really have an issue with that. I'm just gonna blend lightly, go under the eye area. And then I'm gonna take that back up part of my brush, or not a brush, it's a sponge, and blend out that area, that outer area, so it has more of a seamless effect, so it's not such harsh lines. Umber is so cute. And now we're gonna blend the upper lip part. And we're gonna try to keep it in that main area, just patting that main area where we applied it. And now we're gonna take the butt part and we're gonna blend out the edges. So we don't take away too much of the impact of the pigment. I gotta take a lot of words today. Okay. Cute. And now with this little streak that we have down there, we just try to keep in that main area. Don't try to go overboard, just go light above that area. We're not gonna go too heavy into the nose contouring area. I'm gonna teach a nice little way just to keep it looking a little zhuzhed up, but we're gonna keep that center line here, pat light, and keep it on that nose bridge. And you can also go into your finger too, just to blend that in. Cute. Oh my gosh, I feel the fantasy. Okay, now we're gonna blend this upward parts that's on, I don't know, above my eyebrows. Blend it out a little bit there, going with the butt parts. And blend that part out. So when you're doing concealer, that's going to be more so highlighting the areas of your face that you want to bring out. And that is usually a lighter shade of concealer. So your concealer is usually like 2 shades lighter than your foundation. And you want to put that in the areas where the light is going to have the most impact. So I do, the under the eyes, right here, the nose bridge, the top part of the lip. That's where I do that. And then we're going to go into contouring pretty soon, and I'll explain that part afterwards. But yeah, just blend it out with the end butt parts. It's so gorgeous. Okay, now that we just put on the concealer, now we're gonna go into some setting powder. So setting powder is translucent powder, basically. We're just gonna be setting all this cream product in place. And you wanna make sure you're getting a translucent setting powder when you're doing this specific aspect. There's some powders that are way more pigmented and they're like just really like white and they'll leave like a white cast. You don't want that. You want a nice translucent setting powder. So I'm gonna go in with that under my eye just to set my under eye just a little bit. A lot of people know this as baking, if you will, but it's just kind of like a process where you let it sit longer. We're just setting. We're just setting this. Setting the concealer, if you will. Go on the upper lip part. All over the place where you put that cream product. Here. Perfect. Cute. Yeah, let's go under those areas there. And then after I set those concealer areas first, I like to go back into some powder with a powder brush, which is just a big fluffy brush. I like to go in with that and just set the rest of my face that has foundation. Oh yeah. And make sure you read that on this part. You don't want to get clown lung or whatever it's called. That's what us drag queens call it anyways. And then go a little bit on the forehead. And you don't want to use too much powder, but you want to be able to set it because you don't want to have white cast or anything. And white cast is basically when you take a picture and then there's like a big flash on where you did your concealer, your highlighting, all that.
All right, we've got a couple more questions from Amy. Do you do your neck at all to hide beard shadow? And how do you blend that back into your natural skin? And Amy, you don't have to apologize for all the questions. We like your questions. And then she asked, should we put foundation on ears or no?
Oh my gosh. Okay, yes. So you want to be able to, when you do your base, you want to be able to blend it onto your ears just to give it that more seamless effect. You don't want to apply a fresh product and then do onto your ears. Just blend a product that's like in this area on your face onto the ear so it gives that more blended effect. And when it comes to covering up beard areas, yes, you want to blend down the neckline. Having a full coverage foundation will help with that a little bit, like with 5 o'clock shadows and stuff like that. But it won't necessarily cover it all. It totally depends on, you know, how much is popping, all that. But there are color correctors you can use for color correcting. I just did it in my sake because I usually don't, so I wasn't going to. But just to mention that you can go with a light peach concealer. Let me see if I have mine here. Somewhere accessible. I don't think I do. But a light peach, people say go for an orange color, but a light peach cream concealer, and you want to apply it on the areas. You want to be able to blend that out, set it with some powder, and then put your foundation over that. And that also will help with covering up 5 o'clock shadows and anything like that. So now we are going to go into contouring. So I am going to be going in. You don't want to, okay, for contouring, you don't want to go with the darkest brown shade. To be honest, you kind of want to go with the shade that's just a few shades lighter than your actual skin tone, just so it gives that more natural effect. I'm a drag queen, so sometimes I go darker, and you usually have to go with the lighter hand and go darker. So I'm just gonna go with a lighter kind of brown here. tap some of the excess off. And when you're contouring, so we have these our cheekbones right here, and then we have the area right under the cheekbone where there's like that little pocket. That's kind of like right here or right there. We are going to be blending right on that, right where the cheekbone, I guess, is about to end, where it's kind of poking out the most. We're going to place the contour right up underneath that. So we're not going to go all the way down here because you don't want to drag it all the way down there. You don't want to have it all the way up here. You see where your cheekbone is. You want to go like right underneath that top point. So let's see here. So my cheekbone's right here. I'm going to go right under that top point because as you're blending it, it's going to be brought down anyways and brought up. So you're just placing it a little bit higher just so it can make up for that effect or for having, I don't know, for that being there. You're just making up for that as it blends. So when you're blending, you also want to blend upwards. You don't want to go too much with contour powder. I'm using a powder. There's creams, powders, all that. I'm just using a powder. And I just like to stamp my areas first, back here in that specific area that I mentioned. And I like to fan upwards just to keep it light with contouring because we're going for a light glam. Perfect. Now we gotta blend on this side. This side, she's the cousin that came up and has too much going on. We gotta blend her out a little bit. And we're gonna blend it upward. Now this is the part where you're gonna get some makeup in your hairline, and that is okay. You can always go with some product makeup remover, clean it out, or you can just put like some black eyeshadow or your natural hair color over that. But we're just blending it upwards. And you see how we're not bringing it down here. We're keeping it at that line there. So just keep it light. Go with the light hand. Use a light shade, just a few shades darker than your natural skin tone, just so it doesn't look as crazy and as harsh. That's one thing. I once put on too much contour powder, and my friend said it looked like I got bruised, and it looks like I got punched in the face. I was like, wow, that is something you do not say. But we learned, and now we're just going over here, kind of making it a little bit more seamless on that cheek part too, blending upwards, not doing too much. Going in here. And just keeping a light hand, fanning it upwards, keeping it light because we don't want it to be too harsh. Trying to do like a light glam. All right, so now that I got it on my cheekbone areas, now I'm gonna do I don't know if this is a temple, I don't know what this is called, but we're gonna do this part of our head. And we're gonna go in with that same contour product and just apply it. I like to do little stamps there. You don't want to do too crazy, just because if you want it to look more natural, you want to apply, less product, make it look more blended. There. Perfect. And now I'm just gonna blend along that line there. And go with a light hand, because sometimes if you go with too much contour, it can ruin a makeup look, unfortunately. And then you have to restart certain processes. Just always go with the light hand when you're doing makeup. You can always add more if you want to. If you rather want to add more, then have to go through a bunch of steps to take it off and reapply. So we're just blending it out into our other contour spots as well. Oh my gosh, that art just feels so gorgeous. And if you need to apply more product to those areas, if you just want them to have a little more pigment, feel free. Just make sure you're able to keep it nice and seamless. That's what we want to go for. And always play around. And like with contour, there's different face shapes you can do. Learn about your face shape, and then you can also be able to contour a lot better and cater to your face shape versus contouring for a face shape that you don't have. And then it won't complement as it needs to, if that makes sense. When you contour, it needs to cater to your face, your specific face, okay? You don't want to contour your face for someone else. Unless you're like Alexa Stone and you're dressing up like all these other celebrities, then you can do that. And now I'm not going with more contour product and putting it on my jawline. I'm just going with the excess contour product just to keep it light. You don't want too much. I just do this for an extra step, just to keep that jawline just a little rounded looking, even if it doesn't. Oh well. Oh well. You don't want to add a lot here at all. And like I said, you can always go in with a clean makeup brush and go over the makeup product that you want to just reduce some of that pigment, and that will help, I don't know, lessen that effect, if you will. Perfect. So the last step now we have to do for contouring is the nose. The nose can be very tricky. I'm just going to do a very simple little trick you can do just to add a little bit to that. Let's see, will this one work? So I'm going to go in with that same contour shade, but I want to make sure it's not too dark when you're contouring because it will draw straight attention to your nose. So I'm going in with the light hand, that same product. And I like to start at the tip of my nose and go upwards. So I'm going to stamp here, and I'm going to stamp here. That's where I put that mark. That's where I'm going to start my nose contour. And I'm going to kind of bring it outwards a little bit as I'm blending, if that makes sense. Yeah. So we're going to bring that up and out. And we like to keep it light. Keep it light. You can use a more blended brush for this aspect. I like to go with the paddle first and just kind of apply it, and then I blend it out with a more regular brush. Keep it light. As you can see, that's a little bit of pigment there. Apply, and you can go up into your eyeshadow look. There's like that little area you can bring it up into, just to kind of connect the look, connect the eyes, so it doesn't look like separate things. So that's with my paddle brush, and now I'm going with more blended brush, and I'm just blending it out a little bit. And believe it or not, guys, we're almost done with our makeup tutorial. Let me tell you, we just gotta apply some blush and a lip, and we're done. So we're gonna blend that up, that area. And now blending is really important in this area. You do not want to have harsh lines for your nose contour. You don't want to have too dark of lines for your nose contour unless you're a drag queen. Just make sure you're blending, cleaning up those lines, keeping it light. Blend upwards, connecting the eye look. And it doesn't have to be perfect at all. Makeup is a learning process as we go. And now something that you can do to kind of crispen up that nose contour, you can go back in product if it kind of got washed away a little bit with blending. Just be cautious with how much you add. You can wipe off as needed. Just gonna blend that out. Play with your nose shape a little bit, get to learn your nose shape, and then you'll be able to find more techniques that are catered to your specific nose shape to get the look that you want. Now, if it gets a little messy, don't worry. You can go in with some translucent setting powder and clean up that nose. So I'm gonna go back in with some powder there and just go up on the edges here. Just clean up just a little bit.
Hey, Issa, back to share some comments. We got Amy saying you have a total Kardashian vibe going with lots of flames. And then Nina says, crazy how natural or how it looks so natural. And
Ooh.
Taylor says, gorgeous, Issa, with lots of the party eye faces. I don't know what's the name of that emoji.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Um, And I was just thinking this too, Issa, before we wrap up, I know you said you're almost done, but do you want to share a little bit about your next upcoming show? I noticed maybe a New Year's Eve thing is happening for you.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I'd love to. Well, since we're wrapping up here, might as well tell you where you can find me. I will be hosting the New Year's Eve Flame party. I don't know if it's a party. It's just we're getting together at the Duluth Flame for New Year's Eve. We're gonna have a live DJ. We're gonna have some giveaways. We have me on the mic popping in and out, and I'm also gonna be doing the countdown. So come on down to the Duluth Flame if you want to have a fun all gay time. And yeah, that's for that one. And then also coming up, we have drag bingo here at the main club. I believe that is on the 12th of January. That's coming up shortly. That's going to be hosted by Dixie Diamond and Titania Mystique. Usually I would be hosting, but I'm going to be traveling to Atlanta, Georgia to compete in an open stage competition on January 12th. So I'll be having Titania filling in for me. But we have our Duluth Flame New Year's Eve party get together, and we also have the main club drag bingo happening. So those are some of the events that you could find me or where you can support my girls. Yes. We're just gonna blend out that nose a little bit more. You see how it looks soft, blended, put together. Oh my gosh. I'm in love with myself right now. I love it. So now we're gonna go into some blush. I'm gonna go into my blush palette. It's a little beaten up. I'm a drag queen, okay? We're gonna go in with both of these colors, but I go in with the lighter color first, just to add a little pigment. So I'm gonna grab out my blush brush, go into this little first light shade, and I'm basically gonna go in the outer part of my, I don't know how to explain what part of my cheek, I'm just show you. Right there. We're just gonna do a little stamp on, I guess, where the cheekbone kind of pops out a little bit. Not where you do the contour above that point, but where your cheek kind of protrudes out a little bit. That's where I like to apply some product, just to stamp there and stamp there. You want to get the high points of the cheeks. There we go. The high points of the cheeks for the blush. And I'm just going to stamp there, and then I'm going to blend out. And I'm going to blend upwards. And go with the light hand. Oh my gosh, Kardashian vibes. That's still playing in my head. Whoever said that, you're my favorite. I really loved that. I've been watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians like at 3, 4 in the morning, like the old reruns. And ooh, child. There's something else. It's entertaining though. It's entertaining though. I'm the Kardashian without the scandal. Yes. I don't know which one that is, but hey. We're just blending that out. It's that light color again. Go in for more pigment if you need some, okay? Don't be scared. Some people say the blush craze is intense. If you want some blush, apply some blush. If you want some intense blush, apply some intense blush. We're gonna blend that out. And now I'm gonna go to my little, I have a plug in my mirror. Hold up. We gotta turn this bitch back up. Ooh, there we go. There we go. Okay, now we're gonna go back in, but we're going with this dark shade. And I'm basically gonna go right over the same areas where I applied this other blush. Kind of give it more of a two-tone type of blush situation, just to make sure it's all cute and blended. Go back over here with that darker blush just to add some more pigments and different tones. Now, a trick that I learned from my drag queen friends, if you want to add a little more color to your upper forehead area, you can kind of go up on this part and just apply a little bit of blush here. Don't go crazy though. And it kind of gives that little, kind of like sunburns, little sun kiss effect if you want to add that. And that's kind of where you would apply, like not where you apply your contour, but on the outside of where your concealer would be. Just to get some more color there. Don't go too crazy though. Oh my gosh, cute. So now, if you want to touch it up a little bit, this look for going out, New Year's, whatever you want to do, I go with some glitter. Okay. Shout out to my girl Dixie Diamond for popping me on this glitter. I'm not doing drag tonight, but I do want a little pop on my cheek and on my under eye. So I'm just gonna go on my under eye here where my brow bone is, just to add a little glitter, just to make that eye look pop just a little bit more. Oh yeah. She's stunning, babes. She's stunning. Oh yes. No, brow bone, just to highlight that brow bone a little bit. You don't gotta add this part. If you do not have actual glitter, like I do, you can go in with a light shimmer shade as well, like a white shimmer, a silver shimmer, a light gold shimmer, and just go on that brow bone area, and that will make your eye pop and give it more of a little look. Boom. And now, since I'm extra, I'm queer, I'm trans, and I'm a drag queen, I'm gonna apply some just on my cheeks just a little bit, because that's what I do. Just to give a more cutesy look. Okay. That's what I would do. Do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do. Perfect. All right. Now we're just gonna go in with our lip. You know, that ThatQueerIsa, she loves to go in with the red lip. You know what? I was looking for a paper towel, but I'll just use my hand. I'm gonna go in with a nice red lip. You can line your lips if you'd like to, but that's not what we're doing today. I'm just gonna apply some lipstick, and we are almost done, y'all. Put some there, blend it up. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Gotta mush it around. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, if there's some areas that you got a little extra lipstick, that's okay. You can just go in with your concealer brush, wherever that is, and you can just clean it up a little bit. And it ain't hurting nobody. And with that, you can set your face if you feel obligated to with the face primer to make sure your makeup doesn't budge, smudge, go all over the place. Or you could be like me and just apply it to your face and then take it off an hour later. But that is it for this makeup tutorial from my aspect. Sean, is there anything you'd like to add?
You know, I was just gonna say we've got a couple of requests to pretty please show the audience here tonight the outfit you're pairing with your look tonight
Oh my
before you go.
gosh. Yes, well, let me turn around. You know, y'all may have seen her a little bit. You may have seen her a little bit, but we're just gonna go in with a simple little disco silver dress. Okay, it goes with the blue eyeshadow, y'all. I got my white boa. Y'all are in my drag room, so I can't change here, but I will afterwards. But I'm gonna be going in with this nice little silver disco dress you guys have seen me in, and going in with my nice white tulle boa. But yes, that is all I have for my aspect of my makeup tutorial. If you have any quick questions about makeup products, makeup brands, shade matching, feel free to message me. I'll answer you when I can.
Yes, well, thank you, thank you, thank you. That queer Issa, y'all. Please take some time to share your love and gratitude in the comments right now because you're fabulous and
Thank
this was
you.
amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can see like there, we've had tons of people tuning in. We got 50 comments and whoo, people are loving it. So
Oh,
thank
wow.
you.
Yeah, of course. Anytime.
Yes, and then yeah, just a reminder, we put it in the chat here as well. But we've got our virtual name and gender marker change clinic tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. You got to register. So check in the comments. We've got the registration link there, and then you'll get Zoom info for that. We got the upcoming support group on January 8th at 6 p.m. for Trans Northland. And stay tuned for more info on how you can get involved with Trans Joy Fest planning for next year. And that Queerisa, again, one more time, those events. We got New Year's Eve.
Yes, at the Duluth Flame, I'll be hosting on the mic giveaways, liquor. There's going to be all that funness happening. That's on New Year's Eve. That's on Tuesday. And then we have Drag Bingo on January 12th at the main club, hosted by Titania Mystique and Dixie Diamond.
Amazing. Well, we hope you all can join, show up for these events, support our drag performers here locally. We love to see all y'all at the shows. Thank you, thank you, thank you again to our amazing board member, That Queer Isa, for taking the time tonight. So much love to you.
Thank you.
And yeah, we're getting lots of comments about we want more. So stay tuned for that. I think we got something coming for y'all. So stay
Oh, yeah.
tuned. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram, Trans Northland. You can also sign up for our emails to get all the updates about our events, including where Miss Issa will be. So thanks again, y'all, for joining us. We hope you have a fabulous evening, a great weekend, and take good care.